In this video, we will learn how to create electronic assignments that are created, submitted, and graded inside Angel. We will also learn how to connect these assignments to Angel's Gradebook. This video will focus on creating and configuring an electronic discussion forum and an electronic Dropbox in Angel. Let's start with a discussion forum. In Lessons, click Add Content. Under Create an Item, click Discussion Forum. In this configuration window, configure each of these tabs, beginning with the Content tab. Next to Title, give your discussion forum a name, and I suggest using the words Discussion Forum in the name, so that when students see the discussion forum link in Lessons, they recognize it. Next to Subtitle, you can place small bits of information for students, such as a deadline for the discussion forum. Under Directions, give your students step-by-step instructions for posting to this discussion forum in Angel. You can also include instructions for the assignment itself. In this discussion forum, I have included instructions for the assignment, what I want students to post, and I've also included step-by-step instructions for how to make the post in Angel. When you're finished configuring the Content tab, move to Access. Under View Restrictions, by default, Angel makes this discussion forum viewable by students. Make sure that you do not put a check mark next to Do Not Allow Users to View this item. The only time you would place a check mark there is if you need to hide this discussion forum temporarily from students because you're working on a forum. You can restrict this discussion forum by password protecting it or by making it viewable only by selected teams. Start and end date control the visibility of this discussion forum link in Lessons. If you put check marks next to start or end date, students cannot see this discussion forum link in Lessons before or after these dates. If you're going to use start and end dates to hide the discussion forum, make sure you understand the ramifications. If students can't see the discussion forum link, they also can't see your score and your comments if the end date has passed. If you want to impose a deadline for this discussion forum so that students cannot make posts before or after a certain date, you might want to use the Interaction tab. We're going to skip the Post Permissions tab because you want to leave the three components in this tab at their defaults. Let's go to the Interaction tab. Under Availability Settings, if you put a check mark next to Start Accepting Posts or Stop Accepting Posts, students can see the discussion forum link in Lessons. They can open the discussion forum and read it and read other students' posts, read your comments, and see your score. However, they cannot make a post to this discussion forum before or after these dates. So this might be a better option for imposing a deadline if you want to make your discussion forum visible to students but restrict their ability to post to the discussion forum. Interaction Settings controls how your discussion forum operates. Next to Mode, you have several choices. A normal discussion means that students can post after they look at other students' posts. A Post First mode forces students to make their own posts before they can see what other students have posted. Next to Discussion Views, put a check mark next to Allow Users to Switch Between Views if you want students to have the ability to view the discussion forum in a number of ways. Next to Maximum Instructor Rating Score, you place a number here only if you're using scoring to grade the discussion forum. Next to Allow Attachments, put a check mark there if you want students to be able to upload a document to the forum. Never allow anonymous posts. If you don't know who made a post, neither does Angel, and Angel cannot record anonymous posts to the gradebook. So make sure this box reads Disable Anonymous Posts. Next to New Topic Posts, make sure Student Displays so that students can make an original post. You should experiment with the next 4 fields and select and deselect whatever works for you. However, if you have entered a maximum instructor rating score here, you must also check the score box here, or the score column doesn't show in the discussion forum. When you're finished configuring the Interaction tab, move to Assignment. This tab is critical because it's where you make the connection between this new discussion forum and Angel's Gradebook. If you don't configure this tab correctly, number 1, the assignment won't display in Angel's Gradebook. Number 2, grades that you assign to this forum won't post to Angel's Gradebook. And number 3, students may not see an accurate grade for this discussion forum. All electronic assignments in Angel, such as discussion forums, tests that students take and submit within Angel, and drop boxes, must be connected to Angel's Gradebook using this Assignment tab. This connection is very easy to make. Under Gradebook Settings, next to Assignment, click the drop-down menu. Always choose New Assignment. Regardless of what you see in this drop-down menu, this is a new assignment because it has not yet been entered into Angel's Gradebook. Leave this field next to Title blank if you want the name of this discussion forum, which you configured in the Content tab, to appear in both Lessons and in the Gradebook. If you input a title in this field, a different name will appear in the Gradebook for the discussion forum than what appears in Lessons. So leave it blank if you want that name to be the same in both places. Next to Category, put this discussion forum in one of the categories that you have already created. Click the drop-down menu. We'll put it in Homework. Remember that in a percentage-based gradebook, every assignment in Angel must be placed in a category. If you haven't created categories ahead of time, you click Other. In the window that appears, you give the new category a title and a weight, and you click Add. That will create the new category and place this discussion forum in it. Next to Points Possible, input how many points this discussion forum is worth. Calculation type is critical. If you allow students to post once without editing or reposting that post, first submission is a logical choice. However, if you allow students to repost or edit their post, you might want to make one of these other selections. However, never choose Manual for an electronic assignment such as a discussion forum, a Dropbox, or a test. If you choose Manual, Angel will not be able to record this grade in Angel's Gradebook. Manual calculation type is only for assignments that are created, submitted, and graded outside the Angel environment. So let's choose First Submission. Display format controls how the grade for this discussion forum appears in Angel's Gradebook. I suggest you leave it at the course default, which you configured when you set your gradebook up. I would not hide this gradebook assignment from students, because if you do, you'll have to remember to come back into the settings for this discussion forum and unhide the discussion forum when you want students to see the grade. A better way to do this is to go to the gradebook, to the assignment hyperlink, and use a release date, which you learned how to do in the Gradebook video. We're not going to discuss the grading rubric or supplementary evaluation or scoring rubrics because those are more advanced functions. When you're finished configuring the Assignment tab, click the Save button to save all of the settings for all of these tabs. Now you have your discussion forum link in Lessons, and you can see why it might be important to include the words discussion forum in the name so that students recognize what this link is. Before we move on to the Dropbox, let's take a look at the Gradebook. Manage tab, Gradebook, Categories. If we look in the Homework category, we should see the discussion forum if we configured the Assignment tab of that discussion forum correctly. Put a check mark next to Homework. Show Tasks, View Assignments, and there is the oral presentation that we manually entered into the Gradebook and the discussion forum, which we just configured. Now let's move on to the Dropbox. In Lessons, click Add Content. Under Create an Item, choose Dropbox. In this configuration window, configure each of these tabs beginning with Content. Next to Title, give your Dropbox a name. And again, I suggest that you include the words Dropbox in the title so that students recognize it in Lessons. Next to Subtitle, give your students small bits of information if you want, such as a deadline for this Dropbox. Under Page Text, give your students step-by-step instructions for using this Dropbox in Angel, and you can also include instructions for the assignment itself. In this Dropbox, I have given the students instructions not only for the assignment, but also for how to upload to this Dropbox. When you're finished configuring the Content tab, move to Access. Under View Restrictions, by default, Angel makes this Dropbox viewable by students. Make sure you do not put a check mark next to Do Not Allow Users to View this item. The only time you would do that is if you need to temporarily hide this Dropbox from students while you make changes to it. You can restrict your Dropbox by password protecting it or by making it accessible only to certain teams. Start and end date control the visibility of this Dropbox. In other words, students cannot see the Dropbox link in Lessons before or after these dates. If you put check marks next to these dates and hide the Dropbox, make sure you understand the ramifications. If students can't see the Dropbox link, they can't see your feedback or any comments you have made to them after this end date. When you're finished configuring the Access tab, move to the Submission tab. This is where you control how your Dropbox operates. How many submissions do you want to allow students? You make your selection here. If you want the message box where students can keyboard their assignment to be visible, you click Enabled. If you want students to be able to upload attachments to the Dropbox, you choose Enabled. Either of these selections can be enabled or disabled, depending on how you want students to submit their assignment. Under Start Accepting Submissions and Stop Accepting Submissions, you can control the deadline for submissions to this Dropbox without hiding the Dropbox. If you put check marks next to these dates, students cannot submit anything to the Dropbox, but they can see the Dropbox link and they can see any comments you have made for them. Never make submissions anonymous. If you don't know who submitted a Dropbox assignment, neither does Angel, and Angel can't record the grade for that assignment. We're going to skip both the Review and the Automate tab. The Review tab you want to leave at its default. The Automate tab is a more advanced function in Angel, so let's move to the Assignment tab. Like the test and the discussion forum, the Assignment tab is critical because it's where you make a connection between this Dropbox and Angel's Gradebook. If you don't configure this tab correctly, number one, Angel will not be able to automatically record a grade for this Dropbox. Number two, the Dropbox may not display in the Gradebook. And number three, students may not see an accurate grade for this Dropbox. To make the connection, you click the drop-down menu next to Assignment, and just like the test and the discussion forum, you choose New Assignment. No matter what you see in that tab, you choose New Assignment. Next to Title, leave the field blank if you want the same name for this Dropbox to appear in Lessons and in the Gradebook. If you put a title in this field, a different title will appear in the Gradebook from what appears in Lessons. Next to Category, choose what category you want to put this Dropbox in. We'll put it in the Homework category. Again, remember that in a percentage-based gradebook, all assignments must be placed in a category. If you haven't created your categories ahead of time, click Other. Complete the title and the weight in this window, and then click Add, and your new category will be created, and this Dropbox will be placed in that category. Next to points possible, put the number of points your Dropbox is worth. Let's make this Dropbox worth 200 points. Next to calculation type, if you allow only one submission to this Dropbox, first submission is a logical choice. If you allow multiple submissions, you may want to choose one of these other options. Never choose manual. If you do, Angel will not be able to post the grade for this Dropbox to the Gradebook. A manual calculation type, remember, is used only for assignments that are created, submitted, and graded outside the Angel environment. Let's choose first submission. Leave the display format at the course default. I don't recommend that you hide the Gradebook assignment from students because you'll have to remember to come back into the settings for this Dropbox and unhide it when you want students to see the grade. A better way to temporarily hide the grade for this Dropbox is to go directly to the Gradebook, to the assignment hyperlink, and use a release date. We'll skip grading rubric and supplementary evaluation because those are more advanced. And once you're finished with the assignment tab, click Save to save the settings for all of these tabs. And now you have a Dropbox link in Lessons. Let's go to the Manage tab. Take a look at the Gradebook. Categories. We put that Dropbox in Homework, like the discussion forum. Let's look at it. Put a check mark next to it. Show Tasks. View Assignments. And you now see the Dropbox together with the discussion forum and the oral presentation in the homework category. Let's take a look at each of these assignments from the student perspective. Starting with the discussion forum, the student clicks the discussion forum link in Lessons, and he sees your instructions right here. Let's return to Lessons. Click the Dropbox. Students see your instructions right here. And because you configured this Dropbox to allow both a message window for the student to keyboard an assignment into and the ability to submit a document, both the message window and the attachments button display.